welcome to the in-studio edition, and golly, it's good to be back. I've missed being in the studio, and I said this last taping that we had, I did Perspectives, the home edition, because of the pandemic, and everybody was wearing a mask, and things are kind of a little bit easier now, and we're getting back to some semblance of normalcy, and I'm tickled to death. Our guest on this show is a friend and a man I've admired for a great many years, Dr. Larry Rice, who is the president of Rogers State College. And it's good to have you here, Dr. Rice.
Thank you, Sam. It's good to see you, and welcome back from the French Riviera. That's a bad joke, but we're happy you're back. We're happy that we're having in-person interviews. We're happy we're having in-person classes once again.
Thing.
And
yeah.
I'm happy to report as of today, we virtually have no infections. And so we're very proud of that. And there'll be one or two pop up now and then.
Of course.
Out of 3,700 students and 300 employees, it's going to happen. But
your numbers are really good.
They're really good. And we're happy about that. So
you should be. And I think a lot of it has come from planning. And, these things don't just happen.
That's right.
Picked up the newspaper a while back, and I immediately said, got to talk to Dr. Rice, got to get him in here. The new Center for Science and Technology just exploded in my face, and I thought, I got to know more about this.
Good.
This is a dream of yours.
It is.
And we haven't built it yet, but you're going after the money now. How does this all come together?
Okay. And thank you. We love talking about this particular building because it's needed. We're a very old campus. Now, we're not very old as a university. We're only 21 years old as a university, but this campus has been here since 1907, 1909. 1909, I think, when the first building was finished. But so along the way, we've accumulated a few buildings, and we're trying to replace one of the workhorses, which was a building built many years ago. Loshbaugh Hall was a great building, 60, 70 years ago.
Sure.
But it's the workhorse, and so we've identified that as early back as 2014 in one of our strategic plans that was a building we needed to focus on refurbishing or replacing. So as we've grown and so forth, it became clear that it needed to be, and as we added more science biology degrees as well. It does all of the general education courses you have to take in chemistry and so forth, but it does all the specialty degree in the sciences that we have. And so starting in 2014, we identified it. 2018, we brought in some outside folks to look at what we do here for as degrees and how does that match, how does that hook up to our workforce and our stakeholders, and where do these students, what is their chance of getting a job? So in 2018, we brought in Grant Associates, and they said, you need to shut these things down, you need to increase these certain programs, and then you need to add at least these programs. And we've done everything that Grant Associates suggested, with the exception of adding engineering. And so that's part of the secret to this building. So we'd started fundraising, and then COVID got in the way, and so we had the building designed before COVID, and it's expensive. Science buildings are expensive. This particular one, after we've cut and pared down and make sure it's a no frills building, is still $24.1 million and some change.
But that's still only 2% of the total funding available.
Right, that's right. So this is all going to have to be outside funded. And so when during COVID, there was a lot of different money, HERF money, different monies, and so the state of Oklahoma was awarded some ARP money through the governor's office, $1.6 billion, and that sounds like a lot, and it is a lot. But there's over $7 billion worth of requests for that money. But we got on board early, and we have this building in the portal through the Joint Legislative Committee. And I want to hasten to give credit to Steve Valencia, the Vice President for Development, who really worked on this project and put it together with some help with others. But Steve had to write the proposal. So we've got this building in the portal to be funded. And so with this building, we will be able to expand the nursing. We will add, our commitment is to add chemical engineering, and that's
more nursing.
And more nursing. And so we've taken some steps toward that way. The last year, the legislature gave us a little extra money for nursing. So we've added, not only us, but every school that had nursing. So we've added another faculty member in nursing, and we've been working on old Lodgeball Hall and renovating it a bit. But so this fall, we will add another 60-some nurses to the portal, the entry-level portal. By the way, you know, I think since you and I have talked and had one of these shows, we've transitioned from a 2-year nursing school to a 4-year nursing school.
Yeah,
So,
right.
so we're very proud of that, and so we're one of the few, and particularly Northeast Oklahoma, that has a baccalaureate degree nurse, which is in much demand. Now we have a online ADN 2-year nurse to a 4-year nurse, but anyway, we'll add another 60 this fall. But with the extra money we received last year from the state regents, we'll start adding another cohort in the spring. So in the spring, we will add 48 more applicants to our pool. So if you add up all the seniors and sophomores and juniors and all those, well, actually you have to be a junior because you have 2 years of prerequisites
Sure,
to get in.
sure.
So next year, starting this fall of 22, and by May of 23, we'll have 180 baccalaureate degree nurses, soon to be baccalaureate degree nurse in the pipeline. And that's huge. And so with our new STEM building that we've got a proposal in for 24 plus million, we will be able to expand that even more and have faculty. We've got scientists that office in the library. We're really short on office space and so forth. And so, but as we've grown and we've added, Dr. Keith Martin and others added, about 15 years ago, they added molecular biology. And that is a tough degree.
You bet it is.
But since that time, I'm happy to tell you, Sam, that they have produced about 150 graduates that have been admitted to successful post-medical degree schools, MDs, DOs, pharmacology, nurse practitioners, 150 out of that program. That program didn't get started till 5 or 6 years after we opened, and we opened in 2000.
And the workforce is hungry.
Hungry for
They're
it.
hungry
Yeah.
for these people.
So back to nursing, Oklahoma had a shortage of nurses in 2007. You know, my first go around, I was here in 1998, 99 or something like that. 1979, the first time, I get my date. 1979 was my first tour of duty here. And we started the nursing process. I had nothing to do with it, but I was here. Rogers State College started a nursing program about 05, 06. There was a shortage of nurses then. There continues to be a shortage of nurses, both LPNs and RNs. And so the state of Oklahoma's even produced some documents on the shortage of nurses. So when this federal ARP money came down, the legislature wanted to focus on healthcare, and there's some other things too, but healthcare, allied healthcare, nursing, workforce development. So when all that came down, they put a special emphasis. So the first few projects that the Joint Legislative Committee for helping the governor decide how to spend this $1.6 billion, they have put forth those programs in nursing and any type of workforce development. So others will come. We hope. We have this building in the portal. They've not gotten to the infrastructure side of it yet. They've still got a ways to go, but we're excited about our opportunities to expand nursing, add engineering is another area. As I mentioned, the 2018 study that Gray and Associates, they specifically identified chemical engineering as an area that was in great demand for this Northeast Oklahoma.
And it's going to get stronger.
It's going to get stronger with Mid-America Industrial Park.
It is.
And with the Tulsa Port, with the Claremore Industrial. All of our stakeholders on the engineering side said, we want and need chemical engineering. And that's a big bite for us to take as a little school, but we've got some folks on board that can make that happen.
You know, I thought it was interesting. As a state school, what was it? 36 hours, 72 hours after your announcement of where you wanted to go with the Science and Technology Building, up pops University of Oklahoma. They're wanting to do it. So everybody recognizes the need.
Yes.
But you championed the first call, and I think that's so cool. You were in there pounding away saying, look here.
Thank you for that. And it's, the governor's workforce development several years ago identified healthcare. You go back to 2007, the legislature recognized it and passed some encouraging laws in 2007, but they never funded them. Now in 2016 they started funding it, but RNs and LPNs is a very critical, and I don't know where they go. You know, there'll be 10,000, I don't know how many thousand nurses
Yeah.
Across Oklahoma that will receive their RN pen, some 2 years, some 4 years. But there's a critical shortage of nurses.
Yeah,
and,
not
and I know
just
there's
here,
and
it's
COVID,
everywhere.
There was a shortage before COVID, so COVID
Yeah.
just magnified the problem, and their high burnout, and of course the healthcare standards greatly increased, and so it got to where it was hard to actually get enough hours and enough training into the ADN or 2-year nurse. And then the larger hospitals come to us and said, look, we provide a lot of clinicals for you, and you got to have clinical space. And that, by the way, that is the bottleneck, is having access to clinical space. And so the larger hospitals said, we love your students, they're a strong brand, but we want a bachelor's degree nurse. And so we have migrated. We never did not graduate a class. We had dual enrollment until we graduated our up to our last ADN class, and then the next year was our first year of a bachelor's degree. But the clinical rotations are the backlog. And so a few years ago, the legislature passed a bill that you can use these really high-tech mannequins for 30% of the clinical training. Mm-hmm. There's a bill out there today, and I don't know if it'll happen or not, in the legislature that would allow for 50% of your clinical rotations. Now, these mannequins are not cheap.
No.
We've ordered a few of them, and they're $100,000 a piece. And you have to have $11,000 a year maintenance contract, or you're in trouble. So you can do the math. If you got 10 of these, you've got quite a price tag just to maintain them. But I think that's going to be the future, and we continue to seek private donations to buy these mannequins, and they're very high tech and very good.
Oh man, I love to hear you talk about the future. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, I want to talk some more about chemical engineering.
Okay.
And let's get a few future plugs in on those folks.
Okay.
Short break. We'll be back with more with Dr. Larry Reich right after this.